How do you feel about people hacking into YouTubers' computers and threatening to override their system so that they're forced to stop streaming? I see you, bitch. I see you. I know you did that. I see you. I know you did that. I see you. I know you did that. My main mods was acting suspiciously. I hadn't known this person for very long, but she was a self-proclaimed hacker.
Situation. Um, with the hacker situation, it's smart for me to just go straight legal. Just go straight legal. It's better for me to just go straight legal instead of, because yeah, I could make a video and expose the YouTuber who it is with receipts and expose the usernames, but that is risky and it wouldn't be smart. And I'm not interested in putting my channel and you guys at risk. I'm not.
I came into this situation because I saw people that needed help. Being somebody that's a nerd with a lot of IT knowledge, I figured that I would be able to do so. I also happen to watch a lot of YouTube. So one night, while I was stuck in one of my rabbit holes, I started to notice a lot of material, or a lot of videos, being made critically about somebody named the Rewired Soul, and that there was a lot of backlash because of this. He was a mental health YouTuber. You guys know the story. Really don't need to get into that. But one of the things that I did notice was that it was really starting to affect certain people. One of them was even swatted. Another person apparently had the police show up at their home in the form of a wellness check. It was this person that I started to watch more of their videos, sort of relate to in a way that I never really got to express to them, but in a way nonetheless. I noticed that in one of their videos they had a link to a Discord, and being the nerd that I am, that doesn't really like to go outside, and also plays a lot of video games, I decided to join this Discord. And also wondered if she needed any help with security or being safer online. I sent her a message on the 13th or 14th and told her that I was happy to do so, and she welcomed, so I became a part of the server and started implementing bots for her security and for the safety of the server as well. She gave me a position that was indicative of power, but all I really wanted was to be able to have the permissions to be able to run bots as they should. Another thing that I felt was really important to get in place was a VPN. A VPN is well, it stands for Virtual Private Network, but essentially it hides your IP address. And that's something that I got Leaf to install. We looked over a few different options and picked one out, especially one that went with her Mac system. And I helped her set it up. I told her that it would be very, very difficult for anybody to basically try to be able to find her as long as she played smart. So surely everything is all set and good. There's nothing to be concerned about, right? Well, apparently there was. I came into this being concerned for an individual because from things in my past, I don't want people to be unsafe. Not anywhere as near as unsafe as I have been. And if I have a skill set to be able to help them, then I will. Understand that whenever I discovered Leaf, that she was in sort of a way that she presented herself, or that the situation presented herself, which made me think that it was a bit more dire and serious. I thought that people were genuinely wanting to hurt her, from the comments that said things like that they wished her, baby ill, that she was going to have a miscarriage, etc., etc. I look back on this and now think that maybe it's a twisted interpretation of perhaps, maybe being on YouTube is not a good idea for you at this time since it seems to be causing you stress, of which I completely agree with that. However, at the time, I am just wanting to check and make sure that there isn't a threat or danger. What I did was that Leaf expressed to me that there were certain people that had targeted her, some of which, or at least one of which, is rather obvious. So I contacted a friend of mine, and being that these places were essentially a public domain, it really wasn't an issue for him to go and look into them. So we did. There were 3 servers that I had him look into. 2 of them proved to not be particularly an issue, and again realized that I'm being reported back that there's nothing there. I'm not really receiving anything from this individual unless he is asking me a question about it, and ultimately I just wanted to ensure somebody's safety. I don't know the people that I'm looking into. And sure, it would be an issue if these things were blocked off and had a barrier that required credentials, but none of these did. So ultimately, they were entered ethically. There was one server that seemed concerning, and not because of an actual threat or anyone really planning or plotting to do anything out in the open. They did do a lot of other things that were out in the open, which was basically a language of cattiness and vitriol. It's important to understand that even before all of this, that these Discord links were made publicly available, that these are things that anyone could have seen, that the way that people were talking and treating others, the things that they said about them, were just not okay. And I hope that that's something that's able to be understood, that that's something that would get to me, because there's already so much pain that people experience from their own pasts and their own lives, that creating that for another individual unnecessarily, I don't understand. So try to understand where I'm coming from with this. I didn't invade your privacy. It was public. You posted these things publicly. It would be completely different if I bypassed something, but that wasn't the case. My friend stayed in one server, and within 24 hours, the person who owned that server made him a moderator. This is a person that walked in literally a little over a day ago, and they were automatically given a position of power. I was concerned at that point as to what sort of measure of understanding of safety that this person had. But of course, I didn't feel that it was necessarily appropriate to reach out to them at the time. And honestly, while my friend was in there, I would be alerted to if something happened. But really, the conversation between him and I was pretty minimal, as this was a high school kid. He was in school. As soon as I saw that there wasn't really anything that was of concern, I told him, I was like, don't worry about it. But of course, being that he has a life, he didn't necessarily get around to leaving. Didn't really see it as a particular issue. He probably wasn't even online. Wasn't until Friday, March 23rd, that things started to become problematic. Now, here is where we're going to get into a little bit of my backstory. Something that I was never able to discuss with Leaf, and barely on her server. Mind you, I wasn't necessarily there for my own mental health. The way that I coped with it was having the feeling that I was helping people. But I did have some things that happened that day. Things that were planned, and news that I received from these planned things. I woke up that morning and I had not talked to my mother in about 3 years. We had a conversation that lasted for about an hour and a half, in which she told me that her health was deteriorating. My mother is almost 70, and someone that I've not been able to be very close to. She doesn't quite agree with some of the things that I'm into. What wound up happening that day was the release of ProMink's second video. And apparently that video contained a lot regarding Leaf, but used as an example. Now, from what I understand and what was stated, is that there wasn't a proper conversation that went on between the two. However, whenever you're dealing with somebody that is incredibly reactive, it's really, really hard for them to be able to see that. So the video was released, and I had something scheduled that day. I actually watched through the video for Leaf to tell her essentially that it wasn't something malicious meant towards her, that's not what it was intended to be, that it really wasn't that bad, etc., etc. And I tried to basically tell her, hey, I know that you want to go live right now really badly. Now, mind you, it was me and several other individuals that were in a voice chat at the time. And I was talking to her and trying to, establish some non-reactive behaviors by suggesting, maybe sleep on it. I understand that you're feeling intense right now, but maybe sleep on it. As I was getting ready to meet with somebody who was stopping by, I noticed that on the notification, the pop-up thing that I get from YouTube when it decides to tell me when videos are posted, that it says that Leafy Greens has gone live. At that point, I panic. But I was really worried that this would just be more fuel for people to use, more ammo. So I sent one message to her. I DM'd her one time. And then I can't remember if I edited this out or if I didn't use it. Regardless, I am a person with a very troubled past and things that have happened to me which have resulted in my own struggles with mental illness. Of those things are depression, anxiety, PTSD, and ADD. The two in the middle are really the ones that affect me the most. There are mornings where I wake up and I am completely paralyzed by terror. It's not just anxiety, it's not just stress, it is absolute fucking fear. I've had some really painful things happen to me in my life. And the way that I've handled them is that I have gone to other people, whether it would be the authorities, the police, an advocacy group. In this case that I'm about to tell you about, it happened to be the latter. Or at least that's who was working with me. Because the appointment that I had was meeting with my advocate. An advocate is essentially a social worker that works alongside somebody who's going through the legal process of basically pressing charges against their assailant. On August 15th of 2018, I was sexually assaulted. I went to the police. I made a sworn statement. And through shitty police work and a horrible detective, nothing happened. Interestingly, though, I was awarded victims' compensation. So, despite the fact that no one went to jail, the state in which I live recognizes that a crime did actually occur. Otherwise, I wouldn't be receiving money for paying for the multiple therapy, psychiatry, and other medical visits I've had to go through. The reason I wasn't there for Leaf's live stream that she did impulsively, that she is going to later make a claim about, which I'm about to present, is because I was meeting with my advocate about my rape case. Here's the message that I sent her in the DMs that followed afterwards. I essentially told her that I was concerned about her going live. The thing that I said was, Leaf, please don't stream now. I know you want to and you have a lot to say, but please, this is what they want. This is what they expect. I told the other mods that were in her chat to please make sure that she saw that. It ended up getting posted multiple times, which looked really annoying and pushy, but that's not what I did. If you look at the rest of the conversation here, you'll see that there is a gap in time. Whenever I was done with my meeting, I came back in and I took a nap. When I awoke, I saw that I missed a message from her, and then I had one come in at about somewhere around 8 p.m. At that point, I was banned. Interestingly, I was banned while I was finally posting what I had just gone through in her trauma channel. Before I could even share it or say anything about it, I was removed from the server.
I had to get rid of one of my mods the other day because during that live stream, she pretty much harassed me to try to force me to stop so that she could control the video that I made about crimming and so that she could be in it. And my gut was screaming not to listen to her, so ultimately I didn't. But apparently during my stream, she threatened to do something like DSOS me. I don't know if that's the right term, but basically she tried to overwhelm. She thought about overwhelming my system to force me to stop. So that person has since been banned from my server because at this point in my life, I just turned 28. No one's taking my fucking power away from me. Sorry, good fucking try, but it's not happening.
So, remember that whole VPN thing I set up? Well, there's a reason why I did that.
Because what she does, she makes outcasts of people in her community, and I don't even, like, I would say she goes after them, but it's kind of like a petty thing. Like, she'll use everything that you've opened up to her about against you, and then she'll like kick you out and then like lie on you so that no one else will trust you or understand what you're saying to make her look better. It's twisted.
So what was being referred to in that live stream, which I've clarified I wasn't present for what she's referring to, is essentially she's talking about something that's called a DDoS attack. Essentially, a DDoS attack is being a dick to somebody or having actual malicious intent as a hacker, since that's the word of the day. And what I was referring to was something called a ping of death, which is a bit dated, but it works by essentially crashing a server or IP by sending a bunch of packets. Packets are basically information that's transferred between connections, and you can do that by, you can ping through essentially your command prompt. But here's the thing that makes this absolutely impossible is, remember that, I told you, the VPN thing I set up. Well, in order to be able to have this effectively work, you have to have the person's IP address. And if you set somebody up with a VPN, they can change their IP address however and whenever they want. I gave her the ability to do that, to protect herself against not necessarily elementary attempts such as this, but from things that maybe she wouldn't have the awareness to prevent herself against. But a joke was taken out of context, and she grabbed it and ran with it. And guess what? The narrative started. I, in the eyes of a bunch of people that don't know how to computer became a hacker. So since I was banned and I wasn't around to defend myself, it was really easy to construct a narrative that essentially villainized me. And it was done so very effectively. Essentially, at that point, no one had really been villainized by Leaf as far as how they are now. So in a way, I sort of became what I'm referring to as inpatient zero.
And around that time, my technology started malfunctioning. My laptops I have two that are both quite old. One was donated to me, but they both started glitching and neither were working. And I was hearing echoes on my phone, and it just became clear to me that my technology has been compromised. Because I didn't want to risk that, I ended up removing the mod.
And while I can handle my own craziness, it's the issues of others, especially those that apparently chase something that I thought was laundry detergent, fuck is clout, that started to become a thorn in my side. Whenever I was banned that day, I had another person that got banned with me, a band buddy, a younger kid who was really into, I suppose, seeking the approval of others. He wanted me to even partake in an exposure vid on Leaf, but I wasn't really focused on that. I really just wanted my name cleared, and I even sent a request to Leaf. I put together my first video and listed it privately. I sent it to her, and well, you kind of can read what happened there. Either way, this kid, well, he exposes himself very, very well. I told him that I wasn't interested in the video, that I really just wanted to speak with the person that this news got to and clear up anything, as well as come clean about the person that was in her server, since it wasn't a particularly big issue. And if I would have talked to her directly and explained into the situation, it would have been fairly understood, as well as the fact that I didn't collect any information. Things were sent to me, but I did nothing with them. I wasn't concerned, aside from the fact that people were just poisonous to each other.
I know how I said that I was going to make a video on the situation. However, I decided to just not even give these people the direct attention. This needs to be handled legally. Like this, or I can simply just go to the cops and the professionals and have them take it to that. Yeah, I already submitted like the information to like my legal team, and I'm gonna be talking to my dad about it. This YouTuber had a hacker that they were like working with, and like, you know, the hacker had a friend that they sent over to my Discord to kind of disguise themselves as like someone like new. And yeah, I know. So the person disguised themselves as just like an innocent like member of my Discord, and I ended up making that person a mod because that person had earned like a rapport with me and like earned like some trust with me. Now I had people who were in my Discord who were almost messy daily, and they were so damn messy to the point where even when I would be gone and like at work or whatever, they would leave a trail. Now those people have already like Natalie, yeah. Whenever you're dealing with like hackers and when you're dealing with shit like that, it's better to look out for yourself legally. Oh yeah, I have screen name proofs. Yeah, I have screen name proofs. Yeah, but I'm handling this legally. I'm not gonna go ahead and do a video with receipts because that can make me a target, and that can also make you guys a target because hackers, they work internally with, you know, computers and stuff, so it could fucking, you know what I'm saying, it could bite me in the ass. But I do have screen names. If I got a fucking problem with you, I will at you. If I got a fucking problem with you, I'll comment on your shit. If I got a fucking problem with you, you gonna hear it from me. Hear it from me.
When am I going to hear it from you? So herein lies the issue. This is the 2.0. As if I didn't think that it could have gotten any worse. That it couldn't have gone further. It snowballed into something that I could not expect. Especially since I don't even know what I'm being accused of. Fortunately, the thing that tied all, connected all the dots was your enthusiastic live stream audience. Who, if you see during your exclamatory performance, they say my name. They tie in everything with the bullshit that had just happened to me. The time that I offered to someone that I thought needed help. A lot of time that I invested. So instead of accepting my invitation to you to talk on multiple occasions that unfortunately I could not directly message you to do, it had to go through people if it could get to you at all. Essentially what you're doing is you're telling your audience that a crime has happened. You're doing this by insinuating that you need the police, that it is a legal issue. What is the fucking issue? It's not only because you have stated to your audience and publicly online that I have committed some sort of cybercrime, but everything that I stand for, that I do and offer for people, you've made me the person that I'm protecting others from, that I dedicate my life and time to. The whole reason I got wrapped up into all of this is because I wanted to help someone that I thought was in danger. That's what helps me in turn. What's really unfortunate is that I tried to resolve this issue with you in a very mature and civil manner. I even went as far as to DM your occasional co-host on Twitter, even though I hate using Twitter for this sort of thing, and got no response. A few days later, I sent the link to what was essentially my statement to you, because I knew of nothing else to do. And it was basically me asking and also explaining things to you about the situation, trying to have some sort of dialogue, and apparently you were not interested. However, that video, which was unlisted, has gotten over 80 views. So from the dates of the DMs, you can see that that video was posted on April 1st. And somehow unlisted, it's managed to get that many views. The thing that I did not expect, I just keep being surprised, is that it would be really publicly made. Now see, this doesn't really do a whole lot to me, because what I do in that video is defend myself and refute claims. But your friend, however, decided that it was newsworthy. Yeah, I was told in lengthy detail.
Me, because I've been the one telling the truth this whole fucking time.
You might need to work on that. I do know, however, that there are several individuals that you have talked to and scared and threatened with false legal action. So, no legal action. I can tell it's very, very obvious. Because if there were genuine legal action, the steps that you would have taken would have been completely different. You see, as I was talking about earlier, and now this has gone on to be a very long video, and I hate the fact that I've had to make a video doing this, but your audience deserves better. Your audience deserves the truth. Your audience deserves to know what it takes to be safe on Discord, that it can't be hacked. And there are resources that I provide to people online, ones that can be easily looked up, regarding how safe Discord is. For example, it can't be packet sniffed. The only way that somebody can get your IP address is by phishing, which means clicking on a link that goes to the outside of Discord, in which case get a VPN, toggle it on, click the link, and you should be fine. Otherwise, the only information that someone's going to get is the information that one would willingly provide in a public forum, which is what your Discord server was, since it didn't have proper moderation set up, proper safety, and you didn't know how to run it. Interestingly, when my friend was in there, for reasons completely unrelated to you ultimately, he could have actually done something. But he didn't. He actually helped you. Maybe that's why you gave him your trust. Regardless, you shouldn't do that. You don't meet a person and after 24 hours hand them the keys to your house. No wonder why you have such a misconstrued idea of what is safe online, that you're lying to your community, which you value so much. And yes, I'm saying this with a lot of passion because this sort of thing means so much to me. Because of the things that have happened, I've had to take a step back from my work, my projects. I've lost money. Usually my Twitter is reserved for things that are business related, and I've had to be very distant on there because it started off with me being concerned for the well-being of other individuals, and I feel for those that struggle with their mental health as someone that absolutely struggles with her own, but still makes it by and has something to offer to other people. So it's upsetting to me that I am lied about, that people think that I would actually do something malicious to them, when that is not in my character at all. And to further prove my point, that essentially, well, it's a collective effort, but nonetheless, an effort. I want to show you. Since this isn't just now limited to word of mouth, to publications, it's gotten as complicated as the internet itself. Defamation becomes something completely different. What we're referring to here is defamation per se. There's also defamation per quo. Per se is related to a false statement, which damages are very clear. They don't have to be proven because the statement that's been made would clearly cause damage. In your case, because of the fact that you broadcasted it, you have a live stream of this. And something that you should probably know also is that nothing on the internet is ever gone. Ever. There are people that dedicate themselves to archiving the internet. That's their job. There's also something called computer forensic. Hell, if you actually came up with something and I don't know what it would be, but I would submit over my PC to be taken apart and completely gone through every single bit, even the parts which can never be deleted, because I have nothing to hide. There is nothing that I've done. So in this case, this is really easy to prove. This is a gimme pot. This is essentially your basic definition. The first thing says accuses someone of a crime. Not only have I been accused of a crime, additionally, a person or business is unfit to conduct their actual business or trade. Well, because of the crime that you're accusing me of, it would directly affect my business or trade because that's where I work. I can actually prove at this point that it has caused me damage, just so that we get a little bit closer to home. Because ultimately, this goes by where the defendant is from. The elements of a defamation claim are the defendant made a false statement about the plaintiff. Again, we've gone over this, but if you want to pause and look at it, go ahead. Accused me of committing is unable to perform or lacks integrity in performing his or her employment duties, attributes to the plaintiff a lack of ability or otherwise harms the plaintiff in his or her profession. In the off chance that you do actually have something on me, something that I did in my sleep, my other personality, this is the IC3. This is basically where you make complaints of potential cybercrimes to the FBI. Because of the fact that the world of the internet exists in the world and it is across state lines, it deals with the FBI. So, instead of doing an exposure piece, if there's something that I have done, you are welcome to submit it to this site. But as far as I know, I haven't done anything. I know that this has gotten to be a long video, and honestly, I'm kind of resenting the fact that I've had to make a video. Again, I've reached out to you multiple times. I've tried to have a conversation with you. I've wanted to resolve this civilly, like adult. I know that this is intense, but again, like I said, your community deserves to know the truth. You said it to them yourself. The way that I say that people are easily hacked isn't by their technology. The way that people are easily hacked is that we exploit their vulnerability. And one of the biggest vulnerabilities that can be exploited in most people is the fact that they're not well informed. That is one of the easiest things to exploit. Someone not having the proper information, so you're able to feed them something else that they can easily hold on to. That then basically it would patch a program, but in this case it does a person, so that you can rewrite it to execute commands that you want. That is how most people are getting, is by somebody else finding their vulnerability and figuring out how to break for their own gain, for their ability to get information and use it in a malicious way. Whether it may seem minor or it's actually something rather sociopathic. Either way, it's not something that I do. I am open to conversation. I am open to talk. I welcome people to do so. However, this is me making a request that all accusations that are completely unfounded and false cease at this point. If anyone continues on with that narrative, I have the ability to take action on that, and I absolutely will, because that hurts my career. That hurts my ability to make a living for myself when I am not only someone that struggles with mental illness, but someone that also struggles with a physical disability. It's not something I mention because I don't want it holding me back or defining me. I don't have a victim complex. I don't like being put out in the open. I like working behind the scenes and helping people in whatever way I possibly can. I am not anyone's enemy. I don't want to be anyone's enemy. But what has happened and how I've been treated is not okay. Additionally, the way that others have been treated. And you know what I'm talking about when I mean harassment. Sending somebody a message, I want everyone to be safe. And I want to continue on my work of being able to do so. This video was for me to be able to clear my name, because despite asking, no one would do it. So I had to. I may come off as an asshole, but I'm not a bad person. I'm very technically minded. It's kind of a way that I survive. I want to forgive you, but I can't if you continue to be dishonest. I have discovered, though, that I have zero interest in being a YouTuber. But fortunately, I got to learn how to do some pretty basic video editing, and I don't have a Mac, so it's not like it's really easy for me. I have to use quite a complicated piece of software in order to do this. So took me 2 days. You're welcome. I did that to clear my name, but I also did that because I want people to know that I care. I would never try to deliberately harm anyone. I have not exploited anyone's privacy. I have not shared anything or taken anyone's photos. I just wanted to make sure that someone wasn't actually in danger. And my how the tables have turned. So signing off is inpatient zero, the person who got dragged through the mud but didn't have a platform. And I don't want one. Thank you for listening.
Drag publicly, you can apologize publicly. That's been my whole point.